Hi, this is Socionics channel where we help you to broaden your knowledge about yourself and other people. So, this is like a fifth typing video in a row. And so last 4 videos that we did, they were about intuits. So we were kind of bored about typing intuits. So we decided to type somebody who is sensing. And yeah, so let's have some fun.
So today we're gonna type Gordon Ramsay.
I guess you've also got like 27 restaurants around the globe that you sort of run. And I guess what's harder, running 27 restaurants or 4 TV shows?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So do you think he likes this question or he does not?
Well, yes, he likes it.
Why do you think he likes them?
Well, we'll see what he answers.
What's easiest and what's more difficult? I mean, they're both pretty similar. High pressurized. I like to think that the sort of nightmare scenario is just like any live restaurant.
Well, it's interesting in what way he said about highly pressurized.
Mm-hmm.
He said it like more with pride than with complaining, I would say.
Oh, that's interesting. Uh-huh.
That he said, I like to think about as nightmares. So he likes it. He likes pressure.
It is.
It is high pressure, like so many restaurants.
By the way, remember how
so many shows and so many stuff to track, and this is extroverted sensing.
Yeah.
High pressure. So far we see that he likes it.
Yeah, just to compare how we typed Rolling before. And you remember how she was saying, well, I'm afraid of driving cars. I'm afraid of cars. I'm afraid of that I will not have money even though I'm a billionaire.
Yeah, I'm hanging by a thread because of all the pressure.
Yeah, also.
Yeah, so here we
And we were talking that she's not extroverted sensing person. She doesn't have strong extroverted sensing because she's like she doesn't handle the pressure very well, I would say. But here's like completely opposite.
Do you, Gordon, when you're doing these shows, you talked about it being the real you. Is it just the real you, or do you think about the character you're playing on the shows?
It's real him.
You never think about the character. I get straight to the point. Like harboring problems, and I certainly don't sugarcoat things. I hate it when people start kissing your ass because that's sympathetic. So in a kitchen, whether it's a starter, main course, or dessert, wherever the problem is, you've got to get to it straight away and move on.
Well, that's definitely approach of a force. Whereas the problem is, you gotta get to it right away and solve it. And there's no sugarcoating of things. He hates that. And
he's very straight.
Yeah, very straightforward. And also I liked how he said that I never think about character. So that's something that ethical people may think, especially if we're talking extroverted ethical. They can think how to present them to public, how to look and play a little bit in public. So he's saying straight, if we believe him, that he don't think at all about it, which is position of a logic is normal for logics.
But MasterChef is not going that way, but it's getting a lot more pressurized because of the talent that we're discovering. I suppose it's only becoming a lot more fierce and a lot more competitive on the back of how good they are.
It is interesting how in the beginning he was saying MasterChef is more for amateurs, and that's why it's not so tense. But in the same time here, like in the 5 minutes, he still finds competitiveness and pressure there. He's saying the pressure is because there is such a big talents there. So because there are big talents, there's big competition.
Yeah.
So we hear extroverted sensing once again.
Yeah.
Is there ever a moment where you've thought, "Oh, I regret that," because you're not sort of carefully thinking through sort of exactly how you're coming across on TV?
Do I regret it? I think there's always sort of regrets. What I never do is sit there and ponder as if we've made a mistake. All I want to do is find a solution.
I think this is very towards extroversion, because people who are introverted, they would probably prefer to ponder, to overthink, to just, to have time for yourself and overthink everything. And he's not that kind of guy.
Think about all the things and come up with something.
Joe's not a chef. Graham is. Joe's an entrepreneur and a restaurateur, and there's a big difference. So when we're talking about food and potential talent, when we throw that in the mix, it gets very fiery. I'm glad you don't hear us argue, because if you heard us argue, it would be like 60 minutes of the Morse code beeping like mad.
Well, I didn't know that. Like they show, okay, 1 minute passed, here's the result. 60 minutes with beeping. That's pretty harsh.
Yeah, that was interesting how he actually categorized people by their position.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like entrepreneur, his place is this. He is chef, his place is this. And this is very big difference between these two positions. And this kind of categorizing people, it always most likely goes towards people who are collectivists, which is second and fourth quadrant. And first and third quadrant are individualistic.
I always like watching them when they first arrive in the top 20, in the top 10, and then they get down to the top 5. And as opposed to coming into the green room to start reading recipes, they're going into makeup to get their makeup on. Or they're going to wardrobe. And you think, ooh, you little buggers. Mate, 3 months ago, you were coming in a pair of jeans and a T-shirt. You didn't give a and you certainly didn't wear fucking makeup. Stop being precious. So, it makes me laugh.
So basically, when people in this high-pressure environment, they want to fix their makeup to make them look good on the camera. When they go to the makeup
after
room,
get used to things.
Go to the wardrobe. Yeah, so
instead of preparing recipes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
and he laughs at this.
He laughs,
so
and
he doesn't understand why would you want to look good on the camera, in terms of your makeup or your...
for him to be prepared for the competition is much bigger priority, which means
but for them to be prepared in terms of makeup, it's also sort of preparation. So for him, he values another type of preparation,
which means that in this case he prioritizes extroverted sensing over introverted sensing.
The fascination, because there's so much unscripted drama, whether it's watching a service in a restaurant, watching the emotional part of the food unfold in front of your eyes. Yeah, there's that amazing journey that you are faced with these ingredients, and you start off with something raw, and then you go on that phenomenal journey to the end. And so it changes every half an hour.
It changes every half an hour.
Well, there was such a stream of the aspects.
Yeah.
Interesting that the question was, so you more focus in your shows to work with people, which is you would think introverted ethics, but when he answers, you immediately stop thinking that, because he saying it's about emotions, drama. So you can see what he values, not personal connection and being nice to people, but drama, emotions,
unscripted drama. He said so,
unscripted, real. So not just played, but real. So he likes.
Why do you think
value an extroverted ethics here? And then he said that this is a journey from raw ingredients to the cooked dish. So he sees a dish changing like over time. So not just he talking about taste or something, he likes how it's changing over time, introverted intuition.
What's the key to a good risotto?
The key to a great risotto is it's like making bread. There's never two recipes the same. So it's live, it's active. You've got to burn off that white wine to begin with, but you've got to give it love. Constantly stirring. Don't flood the rice. When you flood the rice with stock, then it becomes furry. So therefore you don't get that nice, smooth, rich texture. A ladle at a time and just top up.
Well, he give like a very big set of rules. He not just explained how you make it, what you do this, after this, after this. He was just randomly given all this, don't do this, or do this, or if you do this, gonna happen that, like...
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even notice that. So...
Yeah, he
gave it like a set of rules for cooking risotto. He didn't give her, like, or him, the step-by-step system of how to cook risotto.
He didn't say how much you need of that ingredient and what ingredients to put. He was saying, like, don't overcook. He was saying, like, what you don't do, like the rules. And the rules is introverted logic. By the way, when he was answering, he was like very moving around and watching here, there, and through the whole interview, he never sitting like this, like
we do.
Like we do, yes. And that's the sign of irrationality. When people like they cannot sit on place for
their
for
body
too long.
is very flexible and their mind is very flexible too.
It's quite cool having 3 daughters, because those little schmucks that are thinking of even potentially dating any of my daughters, then they're going to have to come. It's not about asking one of them one day with their hand, a knee, or on one knee for a hand in marriage. Mate, they're going to have to come to me first if they want that permission. So God help them.
God help them.
Yeah, that's quite interesting that he is such an authoritative figure in a family, which is indicates collectivism. When father
and extroverted sensing as well.
Yeah, and you can say in some cases extroverted sensing. So he takes the decision
for the family,
for his daughters. So he extroverted sensing here because that he protects them. He by doing this, he protects them, how he said, from this schmucks.
Schmucks.
So he doesn't say, oh yes, they can, be a girlfriend and boyfriend and let them, figure them themselves. He wants to control it. He wants to test these guys and
he wants
I don't envy this guys.
He wants these guys to deserve his daughters.
Quite interesting interview, I must say. And
yeah, who would have thought about it?
Yeah, I think there is very little doubts that Gordon Ramsay is extroverted sensing, because we were hearing it all the time, and we were hearing it strong, and
so we heard introverted logic, like a lot of introverted logic. He was analyzing, he was comparing, he was setting up principles, criteria, rules, almost in any question that he was asked, and that was actually very interesting to listen. Surprisingly, even though I don't have like introverted intuition and introverted logic and values, that was very interesting to listen.
We also heard some extroverted ethics and introverted intuition, and all these aspects they point out to the second quadrant. And in terms of type, so we determined that he is sensing, and throughout the interview we heard actually the way he was speaking and the way he was sitting and moving around, we were seeing irrationality.
So basically there's only 2 people who have strong extroverted sensing, and introverted logic. So 2 types from second quadrant. And difference between them is one of them is introverted and rational, and the other one is extroverted and irrational. So we've heard plenty of pluses for extroversion and irrationality. He was pretty irrational in his speech, in his body, how his body was moving.
Considering all this, we fairly confident that Gordon Ramsay is sensing logical extrovert.
If you have any comments or questions, leave them under the video. And to watch the full interview, click on the link under the video. If you want to watch more, click on the left to watch rolling typing video. Or if you would like to learn more about extroverted sensing, click on the right.
And to subscribe, click the circular channel icon. Thank you for watching.